Hey everybody, Mr. B here, and welcome to the Loft. So today we're going to talk about our friend the pork tenderloin yet once again. You know, I go back to the pork tenderloin pretty frequently, and I do so for a few reasons. First of all, it's pretty lean, right? You know, like chicken breast lean. So when you're taking a break from the cobblers and the pies and all of that kind of stuff, it can be a really good go-to. Now, I say it's pretty lean, and what I mean is until I get a hold of it. Another reason, you know, that I go back to this is because of its versatility. You know, if you don't do something to it, it's very bland, like chicken breast can be. You know, I'm much more of a chicken thigh guy, and I'm much more of a bone-in pork chop kind of guy, truth be told. But the pork tenderloin can take everything you give it, right? And it's very versatile in the sense that it can be, you know, you can do a European dish with it, you can do an American dish with it, you can grill it, you can bring some Asian spice to it, whatever you want to do. It's pretty versatile and it will handle it. So today, talking about lean, what I'm going to do is a bacon wrapped pork tenderloin, and I'm going to be using let me see if it's pineapple or apricot. I'm going to be making a glaze apricot with some apricot preserves and some real grainy mustard. You've seen me kind of make this glaze in the past, maybe not. Anyway, we'll do a bacon wrap because it's going to bring that sweet and savory flavor combination that I absolutely love. So without any further ado, let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do, well, let me tell you about what we got here, right? So the pork tenderloin, obviously, about 4 cloves of garlic, which I'm going to cut up and poke holes and stick down into the tenderloin. I'm going to use some rosemary and some thyme, and I have some oregano growing in the window that's getting leggy. I'm going to do something with that. Thinking about using some Greek seasoning here, and of course the bacon to wrap that up. So we're going to prep our garlic here just by maybe, well, 3 cloves of garlic. Get this paper off of these and get these cut into sliver size. We use as much of this as we need, right? Let's save that big chunk for the brown off. For your pork tenderloin, let me make a little room here. First thing I'm going to do on this daddy is cut off this piece here because I want to square up the cooking area, the cooking surface. Now, you know, no ma'am, we are not throwing that away. That is going to go into either a soup bag to use in a soup, but to be honest with you, probably won't even make it that long. I'll cut it up and scramble some damn eggs with it or something. Make our slits, just random. Comme ça, and we will stick our garlic down in that. This is a great way to flavor a very bland, medium-sized piece of meat like this. Doing this because it basically will just melt away inside of it. It's so delicious. And we're going to brown this off so it will actually sear itself into the pork. Doom, 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 doom. Now maybe we'll get some of these thyme leaves, stick those in the holes as well. Right? Why not? Maybe a couple of rosemary's. We'll sprinkle this liberally with some of the Greek seasoning. Okay, wash your hands. Go ahead and preheat the oven on a convection roast 375. And we will begin to brown this off. Okay, kids, I have heated up about a tablespoon of olive oil here with about a tablespoon of butter, just eyeballing it. We're gonna put our pork tenderloin on the whole side down. We want to develop a nice sear and some good color. One point of note here is that I had pulled this pork tenderloin out of the refrigerator about an hour or so ago to let it come up to room temperature. I'm a firm believer in letting your your proteins kind of come up when you come out of the fridge. They just seem to do better in the heat versus reacting and constricting and becoming tough on you. So we're going to cook this, not all the way through, but just to get a good brown. And as it starts to brown, I'm going to add some herbs and some garlic to this, and we'll just kind of baste it. Okay, I can see now that we're starting to develop our color, right? So I'm going to flip it. Look how beautiful that is. And to this, we'll add some of our fresh herbs, right? Throw them in. They're going to speak to you. They'll pop. And some fresh butter. And our friend, the garlic. This will just help permeate that flavor in the pan. Or intensify, not necessarily permeate. And we'll just attempt to baste it a bit. This helps add additional color, not to mention flavor. Yeah, so much about pork tenderloin being nice and lean, huh, kids? And we'll check the other side. A couple more minutes to develop. We will give that a flip. Baste this side. And we're going to call that brown. So I'm going to pull this off. We're going to let this rest so it can cool enough for me to handle to wrap it in bacon. Set this off to the side to let it cool. Thank you for your service. And we will go on to make our glaze. So let's talk about the very common marriage between pork and fruit. There are a ton of recipes out there that bring fruit to some form of roasted pork, right? Everybody knows pork and apples. So my favorite combination really is apricot. There's just something about it. It's absolutely amazing. And or pineapple. But I'm here to tell you, fig is delicious. Plum would be delicious. You want that sweetness to flavor, that savory. There's just something about it. So let me show you this real quick glaze that we're going to put together. We'll also use it as our dipping sauce. Y'all know I'm all about dipping sauces. I am using this thick apricot, 100% fruit, sort of compote, I guess. And I want every last bit of this in here. And of course, another perfect match made in heaven with your pork is mustard. I'm using a stone ground. And we're just going to mix this together.
You get the sweet, the spiciness from the mustard.
Give it a taste. I'm going to hit with a little more mustard, and that's going to be perfect. Right, there you have it. I mean, does it get any easier? I mean, come on, kids. Okay, so I've lined the sheet tray with some parchment paper, and it's time to start taking care of our tenderloin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spread some of this glaze on that reasonably liberally. I'm going to take a piece of my bacon. Let me figure out how I'm going to do this here. And we are just going to wrap our little friend up.
And for good measure,
I'm going to throw a sprig of rosemary, a little bit of thyme, and some of that oregano here, just for some aromatics. We'll pop this into a 375 degree oven with the fan on for about 30 minutes or so, till the internal temperature hits about 140. All right, so we've hit about a 30-minute time mark here. Look at how beautiful that is. Doesn't that look delicious? Sweet potato fries. All right, so we're gonna let this rest for at least 15 minutes or so, and then we will cut it up. Okie doke, so let's carve and plate this up. Looks absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna use a charade, like a steak knife here, because I want to try to keep as much of the integrity of the bacon as possible. But let's face it, kids, it's gonna fall apart. Beautifully cooked. And now let's give it a taste. That's what we came here for, right? That is really tender. So it's a beautiful flavor combination here, because you're getting clearly each component, right? So you have the garlic and the fresh herbs, very, coming through pretty strong. Then you've got that sweetness in the mustard mix, and then the smokiness of the bacon just marries everything together and brings it across the finish line. This is a perfect Sunday style supper on a weeknight, guys. In any case, kids, I'm going to leave it there. This is bacon wrapped pork tenderloin with an apricot mustard sauce, or glaze, or whatever you want to call it. And just remember, doesn't matter if it's hometown or midtown, we're going to cook it from the loft. We'll see you next time. All right, pork and fruit in 3, 2. Stone fruits are very common. Your apricots, plums. I've seen stone fruits are very common, but you've also seen apples, pork and apples. Very, very, damn it, why is this so hard today?